Dwight David Eisenhower was the 34th U.S. President in office from 1953 until 1961. He was a five-star general in the U.S. Army during World War II and served as a supreme commander of allies in Europe, like Britain. A major achievement of his was planning and supervising the invasion of North Africa, and also the invasion of France and Germany. He was the last U.S. president to have been born in the 1800s.
What could he have done to be a leader?
Winston Churchill and President Franklin Delano Roosevelt told Joseph Stalin during World War II that the planned invasions in 1944 could still be possible by August 1st, 1944, but President Roosevelt and Winston Churchill had still not made up their minds about who the supreme commander should be. To this latter point, Joseph Stalin decided to rejoin. Then nothing will come of these operations. Who carries the moral and technical responsibility for this operation? Winston Churchill and President Roosevelt asked each other who the supreme commander should be, but finally came to a decision. Soon after the meeting, Roosevelt told General Dwight David Eisenhower he would have the supreme commander position. He was a five-star general, making Eisenhower the best candidate at the time. But Eisenhower was not only a five-star general, he was also the 34th President of the United States, utilizing his prestige as commanding general of the victorious forces in Europe during World War II. Dwight D. Eisenhower got a truce in Korea and worked constantly during his presidency to lose some of the grit that was built during the Cold War.
So what did he do to leave a lasting legacy?
On the day that is now known as D-Day, the future president, Dwight D. Eisenhower, then to be Supreme Commander of Allied Expeditionary Forces in World War II, gives the go-ahead to make a big invasion of Europe called Operation Overlord. Franklin Roosevelt, America's president at the time, waited to hear of the success of the invasion. On the first week of June 1944, Nazi Germany was controlling most of Western Europe. The Allied forces, numbered around 156,000, were poised to travel by plane or ship over the English Channel to attack the German army. June 5th, Dwight had only 4 days of where there was good weather where the invasion would be able to happen. When the bad weather hit the Channel on June 4th, Dwight had to choose to postpone or go. Weather conditions were predicted to get worse in the time of the next 2 weeks. He had thousands of supplies that were, in his words, hanging from the end of a thin limb. In 1944, Dwight D. Eisenhower gave the signal to launch the Operation Overlord. After a cautious but promising report from Dwight's meteorologist at 9:45 p.m. on June 5th, Eisenhower told his staff, "Let's go." The Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Forces in World War II also launches Operation Overlord into Europe, while FDR waits for success back in the USA. By this time, the Nazis controlled most of Western Europe. The Allied forces had 156,000 soldiers, were forced to travel by ship and plane across the English Channel so they could attack the Germans in Normandy, France on June 5th.
The invasion of North Africa was fought over the control of the Suez Canal. Great Britain relied on the canal for connection to Middle Eastern oil and basic materials from Asia. The Suez Canal and the Mediterranean also built the primary aid to Britain's overseas demands. The ground invasion in North Africa and the naval invasion for the Mediterranean were two sides of the same important piece.
What are some inspirational things this man has said?
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. the United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
Dwight David Ike Eisenhower dealt with many controversial topics, including national security. He said a lot of inspirational things to rally the people, to call them in line, so they could fix these issues in a productive manner. He was also tasked with getting the military troops in order, as well as making them feel better about the hard battles they were to later endure.
Why would his accomplishments create a lasting legacy throughout history?
Without Dwight D. Eisenhower, there would only be Korea, not communist North Korea and democratic South Korea. The Nazis might not have been driven out of France. We might not have won World War I or even World War II. This country might not have been the same or even existent. This man has protected and united the states to stop many threats. That's why his actions as a general, a president, and as a supreme commander have lasting effects on the USA. That is Dwight David Ike Eisenhower's legacy.
On D-Day, the American soldier again proved his outstanding worthiness as a fighting man. No obstacle could stop him. No enemy could withstand his outstanding courage, determination, and will to win. We have yet to complete the job he so well advanced at such great cost. For victory in war is barren until a secure peace has been established. Young men who have not yet done their share must now come forward to help bear the burden. May the memory of what the American fighting man accomplished renew in us a firm resolve to see the job through. We, whose strength did so much to win the shooting war, cannot afford to grow laggard now. That we owe to every man who fell on D-Day and on so many other fields throughout the war.